Welcome back to my Ahsoka Episode 7 review. Just one more to go, guys, and we're finally done with this boring series. Now, I also got to mention before we get into the episode that we do get confirmation that everything in the sequel trilogy is going to be coming to pass. These shows aren't leading towards a new Star Wars, but instead are leading towards the Star Wars Disney. So, I hate to say it, guys, but it's going to be a long time before we actually get any real good Star Wars, I'm afraid to say. Now, let me get on into the episode. It's not going to take too much time, honestly. It's just kind of still boring, not all that much. Hera is having like a council, Senate court meeting with the senators. The senators accusing her of going AWOL and disrespecting their orders. Hera saying that she didn't go AWOL to the Republic, she went AWOL on the senator's orders, which he's a senator, so technically what he says it still stands. So it's just it doesn't really matter. Like this whole scene, the writing's poor. I don't care. I just move along. The only good part of this is that we get to see C3PO showing up here. Now it looks okay. I'm all right for the most part. Those movements are kind of janky. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but hey, at least we get to see him. I don't really care that much. Seeing Anakin was way cooler in the last episode, but at least we still get him. So there's that. Anyway, C3PO is here to say that Leia Organa, not the senator, but the head of the War Council, as I said, we're still moving to that sequel trilogy, but the head of the War Council gave Hera this special mission to go help Ahsoka, so it was sanctioned by the Republic, so no need to look into it or, hold any grudges against Hera for being disrespectful. Well, the Chancellor seems to buy it and dismisses everybody to let them go. So Hera's off the hook. Now, this isn't from anything Hera's done. Her own actions didn't save her. It was just the actions of somebody else, where Hera chose to go do something kind of idiotic and isn't paying the price for it. So you kind of see that for a lot throughout this episode. Sabine gets stabbed, doesn't really pay a price for it. Hera doesn't really get any evidence to show to the council and fails to convince them of Thrawn. Doesn't really pay too much of a price for it, except for now when we thought that she might be. Still, she gets saved by somebody else, not by her own words, so she doesn't pay any price for it. So, what's the lesson in this series again? That you can just do a whole bunch of F ups, you can make a whole bunch of mistakes, and you will never have to pay for the consequences? Is that kind of what we're supposed to get here? Like, that's kind of what I'm personally getting from here. But, anyways, the counselor woman, she comes down, says like, hey, I kind of get that this is all fake, that Leia didn't give you that special order, but I'm just going to, play it out to the side because I like you. But hey, on the down low, how important is this threat of Thrawn? And instead of being like, it's super important, we got to man up and be prepared for an attack by the Empire at any time, she just says, oh, it's we need to be prepared. Great. I can tell anybody that. I can go tell the U.S. government, like, hey, you guys need to be prepared. Iran might attack us. Okay, we know they're out there. We know they are there. But are they? Like, are they going to really come over here and invade us with a ground army? No, yes, they will fly hijackers or send out suicide bombers, yes. But an actual military invasion, I don't think anybody here in America is concerned of seeing troops from Iran on our soil. And I highly doubt by just telling this to her that it's going to be like, oh, okay, do we really need to get these ships up and ready? Because all you're telling me now is that we need to be ready. Yeah, way to go, Hera. Well done. Anyways, we then move on to the whale scene. Ahsoka's doing some training with some Anakin recordings she has. It's cool to see Anakin teaching her. It's awesome. But I gotta say, her acting in this scene kind of sucks. Her forms aren't fluid. She's going from form to form, kind of junkily, not like somebody that's actually been training in swordcraft for a long time. They just gave her some poses that she can go into and just hold for a little bit and then move on to the next one. Nothing really all that exciting here. I mean, we have seen throughout this whole series that Rosario Dawson is not that athletic and is not that competent when it comes to sword fighting. They did not do her any favors at all. So we just get this scene, not all that important. The conversation kind of wraps up. She teases Yahoo about some stuff. It doesn't matter. Then they're just way inside here. They see that the whales are being attacked. Then we get to this scene here. Now there is an issue with this scene, and it's not the fact that they have mindset like this in Star Wars that they suddenly jump out of hyperspace and into a minefield, because that was a tactic used in Star Wars lore. The issue here is that where the heck did they get all these mines? Because that ISD is super destroyed, and I highly doubt Thrawn just has millions of bombs just laying around. But nope, they have them and they're strewn about. So I would love to know, where did you guys get all this? Don't worry about it. Details, Carl. Details. Okay, sure. Anyways, the whales keep flying through. Eventually, they have to get out of the whale to fly through the minefield, but they get through it just fine. At this point, some fires come out to start chasing them. Now, I'm going to show you a little clip here in a second of my annoyance in this scene. Okay, now that you guys have seen it, annoyed part of that is that that scene is just depicting those same old fighters. Like, we're with Thrawn now. Like, Thrawn has TIE fighters. We saw them in the last episode. So why aren't those TIE fighters coming up and going after Ahsoka? So I just want to see some of my old Star Wars coming through and just chasing her. But no, we just get these normal fighters. It's just annoying. Anyways, they chase her down into this boneyard where all the whales have died, and some of them die, some of them don't, but she mostly escapes from them. That's what these guys were pointing on, that they're tracking her through the whale graveyard, but they're not having that much luck finding her. Thrawn appreciates the update, and at the same time, Morgana shows up with the tab for Ahsoka's master and all that information. Seeing who her master is, Thrawn calls off the attack, saying that her master is Anakin Skywalker, and he was known to be completely unpredictable. So, judging by that, she's probably the same way. So, what they can do right now is lock down the variables they can control and wait for her to move, because she's going to be unpredictable. So, it's an okay tactic. It's not necessarily brilliant, but at least you're making somewhat of a smart move. I'm not that impressed, though, from a genius tactician like Thrawn, but hey, I guess it'll work. In this scene, they're hiding out in the whale yard, escape from those TIE fighters, escape from those fighters. They're trying to do a planetary scan for Sabine, so we'll see what that happens. But in the meantime, they're just sitting back and waiting for something to happen. Then we meet up with a Space Aladdin. I'm sorry. It does look like Space Aladdin, though. Like, everyone who's made their commentary out there, like, yo, Ezra, he looks like a Space Aladdin. Kind of hard to argue against that. I mean, he's got the beard, he's got the hair, and, well, I guess Aladdin didn't have a beard. So, he has the hair at least, and he's flying a hovercraft. So, you're flying carpet, I guess you could say. Sabine and him having a bit of a conversation about the state of the galaxy, how the Empire has fallen, the New Republic has risen, and how Hera is now a commander in the Republic fleet. He also asks about the Emperor, and that's the scene I was talking about, so I'll play it now.
The Emperor died.
That's what people say.
And that's pretty much a confirmation for us Star Wars fans that, yes, they're still going in this direction with the sequel trilogy. For them, yeah, it's not that much there, but it's pretty much just as telling, like, hey, yeah, we're still going this direction. They could change it up later on, I guess, but the likelihood of that happening is very limited to me. So, I'm sorry, guys, that's just how I see it. Anyways, they keep on talking about the state of things, and Ezra's trying to approach how she got here, and she just will say it's bad, not really want to get into it. They then notice that Raylan's up here on the ridge, and it causes a bit of a panic in their ranks, so they want to turn around from which direction they are going and get away from him as fast as they can. But it's already pretty much too late. Balin and his apprentice have called in the Thrawn to let them know of where Sabine and Ezra's location is. Now, can I also mention, like, still, it's so dumb that it was so easy for her to find Ezra. If it was that easy, Thrawn should have found them way sooner. He should have known about this culture on the ground. He should have known about this. This is what Thrawn was supposed to be known for, is knowing alien cultures and seeing the things that normal Imperials wouldn't see and outsmarting your adversaries. So just to have Ezra floating around these hovercrafts, it kind of just undermines Thrawn's brilliance, in my opinion. But that's just me, so maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, Thrawn calls up the Night Sisters to come help him find Ahsoka in that field to flush her out so they can properly track her then. So they begin their ritual. At the same time, Ahsoka's scans are coming up negative for Sabine. So instead of relying on the scans, Ahsoka goes into a bit of force trance, trying to reach out to Sabine, saying like, hey Sabine, I'm here, are you there, can you hear me? And Sabine gets into a little bit of a trance there, so indicating to us that there is a force potential in Sabine. So unfortunately, by the episode 8, she is probably going to save everybody with her force powers. I'm just saying, that's how Disney likes to roll, and that's probably what we're going to get. But I would really prefer to see if Sabine doesn't have any force abilities. But it is what it is. Anyways, Ezra's trying to get her attention because she's just gone completely silent and can't shake out of the trance until Ahsoka stops the transmission and he's able to finally talk to her again. I should also mention at this point, one of the better scenes is mentioned that she is now apprentice of Ahsoka, which kind of shocks Ezra because she has no force abilities. I'm sorry, guys. But she's just like, what? Why are you reacting like this? And he's just pretty much saying like, well, when we were training together, there wasn't really much that you could do. Like he doesn't get into it. Like it'd been a great part to show where like you don't have any force abilities. You're not a Jedi. When we were training with Kanan, you got stomped whenever we started using the force pretty much. So I would prefer that kind of conversation, but just like, oh yeah, you can definitely do it. I can definitely see why. Thanks Disney Star Wars for having those balls here. Anyways, Ahsoka now knows where Sabine's location is, but just as she flushes her out, Thrawn has flushed her location out. Ordering his troops, Thrawn starts firing on Ahsoka's location, causing her to fly out of the graveyard and directly to Sabine. He then orders the fighters to follow her, where his soldiers then ask like, "Hey, should we also get our own defenses ready because she might fly here?" But Thrawn's like, "Nah, don't have to worry about it. We know exactly where she's going. She's going to go save Sabine and Ezra, so we don't have to worry about them for a while." But I'd still be concerned personally. Anyhow, they're trying to get away from Balin as fast as they can, but it's not really too much that they can do. They're on those slow moving carts, and Balin and his apprentice are on fast moving animals of some sort. They look like there's still that wolf rat thing, so apparently they can move way faster than those hovercrafts can. At this point, we actually have a great scene between Balin and his apprentice, where Balin's saying like, "Hey, I recognize that you have ambitions. It's not path that I'm going to be going down. So this is where we part ways. You're going to go with the Empire, and I have my own plans I need to fulfill." And she accepts it, and they say their farewells here, and she moves forward to pursue Sabine and Ezra with these mercenary rat dog things. They start firing at the little hovercrafts, and of course, they have no weapons. Good guys don't need weapons, I tell you. These little Ewok things, they live on a dangerous, dead world, but don't worry, they don't need weapons of any sort. Really? Still? Nothing? It's just driving around in hovercrafts, no weapons, a peaceful people. I'm so tired. Like, give the peaceful people rifles, guns to protect themselves. This is Star Wars. Instead, they bring out slingshots. If you have these hovercrafts, I'm going to presume you also know how to run a rifle. At least a laser gun of some sort. Not just a slingshot. It just annoyed me personally. Anyhow, the fights keep going on here. Eventually, Ezra gives a signal for everybody to round up into a circle and to armor up, which is just pretty much putting this metal dome over where their rider was. At this point, Ezra and Sabine jump out to start fighting the mercenaries. Now, while this is all going on, Ahsoka shows up above them, still being chased by the fighters. She gives controls to the droid, and she jumps out to go help Sabine and Ezra. We then also get a fantastic rematch between Masters here. It's going to be okay, I guess. Now, I just gotta say, I still love his stance. He looks far more like a Jedi Knight warrior in that pose, where she's just doing some kind of crane thing. I'm not a fan personally. Just prepare your lightsabers like this, or do something else. This just looks dumb. Unless you're about to just leap up into the air and cut his head off. I don't really get the point for that kind of stance. But I'm not much of a sword fighting expert, so maybe this is a good pose, but to me it just looks dumb. Anyways, in the next scene, we get a nice little discussion between Ezra and Sabine, like, "Hey, Ezra, take your lightsaber, be a Jedi." But Ezra says something that we all want to hear Jedi say, like, "I don't need a lightsaber, I got the Force, that's the main weapon I need." Like, that's a sign of a good Jedi. Like, Luke had to learn the lesson the hard way that your weapon isn't necessarily your lightsaber, it's you, it's the Force. Use that as your weapon. So I like seeing that. And Sabine's just like, "I don't believe you, but okay, fine, whatever, buddy." So she keeps the lightsaber as she starts gunning people down. Ezra does some nice Force moves, Force pushing people back. So we actually see someone using the Force in this episode. Fight over here continues between Ezra, Sabine, and the mercenaries, and then the apprentice shows up. It looks like Ahsoka is starting to lose to Balin again when all of a sudden the ship comes by and drops some bombs that blow up the area, allowing Ahsoka to escape, and Balin just having to let her go. So it wasn't really all that much of an interesting exit, but she at least got a way to go help Sabine and Ezra. Yeah, he's not too happy about that, but there's not much he can do about it. Anyways, the stormtroopers are starting to show up here. Still, I have a major issue with the fact that their armor is still not Imperial standard. Like, I still hate that they have all this red stuff on. We're not given a reason yet in this episode why they have it. Like, if it is just the fact that we're with the Night Sisters now, so we gotta wear ribbons and stuff like that just to represent for them, I'm not gonna be a big fan. I just gotta be honest with you there. Next thing we see, Thrawn and Morgan are watching the battle from a holo display. Anyways, the troops are surrounding Ezra and Sabine, and Ezra's trying to negotiate his way out of it, but they're not having it. But before they can open fire to kill the two, Ahsoka shows up and starts saving the day from them getting completely annihilated here. The fight goes on for a good little while here until Thrawn realizes, like, yeah, we're losing this fight. Call back the troops. There's no way we're going to win this. At this, Morgan's like, hey, what are we doing? We need to keep fighting. We need to win this. Otherwise, they're just going to come here. And Thrawn is kind of idiotic at this because he says, in my perspective, we haven't lost. We've bought in time because now we have almost full on all our cargo. Yeah, what time have you bought exactly? Because all they need to do is get into Ahsoka's ship and follow those TIE transports back to your ship to stop you. Where was the tactical reasoning there? Where was the brilliance of Thrawn? I don't really see it. You guys needed better writers for him, just saying, to be honest with y'all. Now, I do like this scene where Ahsoka reaches a hand out to the Padawan, offering like, hey, come with us, just discard your weapon, I can help you, as a true Jedi would offer. But instead of taking Ahsoka up on her offer, she flees, which Sabine and Ezra want to follow, but Ahsoka waves them off, which, great, you're letting your enemy run so they can come back and kill you another day. That's always a good idea. Now, in the next scene, what we get is just a friendly reunite. And the next thing we get is just Ahsoka reuniting with Sabine. No harsh words, no scoring, no like, hey, what did you do? You completely effed us over. Nope, none of that. Just like, hey, it's so good to see you. We're happy. Yeah, whatever. She gives Ezra a hug, I guess, for some reason, and now they're all happy because they can go home. It wasn't that much of a good episode, I just gotta be honest with you guys. I know I spent a long time kind of rambling through this thing, but really the main thing was just that this episode reconfirms that the sequel trilogy is still going on, that Disney hasn't changed their mind at all, that Kathleen Kennedy is still making her Star Wars, supplanting George Lucas, and this episode just didn't really have much in the way of anything, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you, it was a bore fest. Thrawn's strategic mind is a complete laughing joke here. I didn't see any brilliance. If this was the real Thrawn, he would have found out a way to capture all three of them with rats. Pretty sad outing for Grand Admiral Thrawn. I was personally not all that impressed with this episode, but maybe I'm being too harsh on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Please let me know in the comments below, guys. I look forward to hearing from you. If you can leave a like and subscribe, that helps the channel a lot. And let me know what your thoughts are. I look forward to hearing from you. You guys take care now. See you in the next one. Bye.